Got breaking news out of the NBA. Russell Westbrook intends to sign with the Clippers. Westbrook plans to return to LA once he completes a buyout with the Jazz. Now Westbrook returns to Southern California to play alongside Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
I gotta admit, I've recorded in a lot of bizarre places. I've recorded in hotels. I've recorded in living rooms. I've recorded in bathrooms. I can't say I've ever recorded in an airport smoking lounge in the Bahamas. So this is a first for me. So if you don't see pristine lighting or anything of that sort, it's because I'm currently in a smoking lounge in the Bahamas. And I'm gonna be honest, nothing against people that do. I don't smoke personally. So I'm kind of on a time crunch here. But we do have some breaking news. I had to make sure I got this to you guys. It may get to you guys a little late because I'm probably going to be on a flight on the way back. Obviously, I'm going to try to get this to you guys as soon as possible. Before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. So many of my subscribers listened to me and made bank on the Super Bowl, bro. You remember when I told you to sign up with my promo code microphone to get a $100 deposit match? And then said this? And if Kenneth Gainwell gets more than 21.5 rush yards, you could 3x your money. Now, if you feel really good about this, you could also add Travis Kelce scoring 1 touchdown. And if both of these hit, you 5x your money. Well, a lot of you guys slid into my DMs on Instagram to show me how much money you made because of this hit. So huge shout out to all of you, man. I only have my promo code live for 2 more weeks, so I'm still gonna be posting my picks onto my Instagram account at The Flight Mike, and we're definitely gonna make some picks for the XFL and the USFL. And I post NBA picks onto my Instagram story on a daily basis. So make sure you sign up with my promo code microphone to get a $100 deposit match while it's still active. And thank you, Prize Picks, for making us all a bunch of money on Super Bowl Sunday. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Huge shout out to my buddy Jamari, who thought I wouldn't do this, but I ended up doing it. So if there's been one recurring character on this show throughout the past, I'd say year and a half, it'd be none other than Russell Westbrook. He was the bane of most Los Angeles Lakers fans' existence over the past year, and for the most part, I do agree that he took a little bit too much of the blame for the lack of chemistry and the lack of success that the Los Angeles Lakers had. Yeah, on one hand, you have to admit that an athletic point guard that was closer to the middle of his 30s than the beginning of his 30s, who struggled to shoot from the perimeter, was very ball dominant, already was a fairly questionable fit next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But the hope was by acquiring Russell Westbrook, you'd be able to take some of the load off of LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook would be able to shoulder some more of the playmaking responsibility, and maybe LeBron James could play a different position on the court. Maybe he could revert to more of a power forward and wouldn't need the ball in his hands nearly as much. Unfortunately, following year 1 with the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James did what he typically does. When the plan goes south, he reverts to dominating the ball and trying to create plays for his teammates, because at the end of the day, that's what LeBron James does best. This brought forth the question as to what do the Los Angeles Lakers do with Russell Westbrook? What is Russell Westbrook's fit into all of this? And through it all, through the constant losing, through him and Frank Vogel not getting along.
I'm not sure what his issue was with me, or I'm not sure why, but I can't really give you an answer why we never really connected. Maybe, that's something that he has to answer, but I never, from the get-go was feeling like I was having to try to prove myself to him and my capabilities and what I've been able to do for this game. And it's unfortunate, but it's really not kind of out of my hands.
Rumors of him potentially coming off of the bench, which, by the way, if you remember, at first he completely refused to come off the bench.
Do you think having to change your routine and stuff like that could have played any role in feeling something a little different?
Absolutely.
As a result of all these events, the Los Angeles Lakers were stuck in quite a quandary. On one hand, you have one of the first players to ever get a supermax contract extension that is a huge albatross on the salary cap of the Los Angeles Lakers. At the same time, when you have 76% of all of your salary cap allocated to 3 players, those 3 players better play really well with one another. That also wasn't the case with the Los Angeles Lakers. They played horribly even when all 3 of them were healthy for 20 games James last year, which brought forth one question: how did they get out of the situation? Earlier on in the offseason, there were discussions about maybe parting with 2 future first-round picks and Russell Westbrook and getting additional shooting around LeBron James, or getting some role players that fit around LeBron James a little bit better. Players such as Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, DeMar DeRozan. What most Laker fans ended up doing was lamenting the fact that a trade wasn't made for Buddy Hield and DeMar DeRozan as opposed to trading for Russell Westbrook to begin with. But the more healthy thing to do is try to figure out how Rob Pelinka could solve this mess. Laker fans had all of their prayers answered on the day of the trade deadline, when the Los Angeles Lakers didn't even need to give up 2 unprotected first-round picks, which were their final assets of the year, to get a remarkable haul that could at least allow them to contend, or at least be competitive for the rest of the season. Now look, I'm not calling the Los Angeles Lakers a potential championship contender, but I will admit it's less painful to watch the games as a result of their recent trade. Giving up a top 4 protected 2027 first-round pick, which is very crucial given the situation that the Lakers are in addition to Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley, and receiving the likes of players like Mo Bamba, Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, Scottie Pippen Jr.'s stepdad in return. Immediately, Russell Westbrook gets traded to the Utah Jazz. The Lakers have players that make more sense in the situation that they're in, I must admit. Then the narrative completely shifted as to what do the Utah Jazz do with Russell Westbrook. If you remember in my trade video, where I guess infamously claimed that the Los Angeles Lakers made the trade of the year, before, of course, the Brooklyn Nets traded Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns for Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges, multiple first-round picks, I said at the end of the video what Russell Westbrook's future might look like. And if you didn't happen to catch this video, this is what I said. So revenge, great shooting, a coach that used to play basketball who could get him to buy into his vision, and a deep defensive roster. What team provides all of those options? Sounds like the Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah, the NBA is about to get really freaking juicy. So Russell Westbrook originally decided to talk with the Miami Heat, talk to the Los Angeles Clippers. There was even rumors about him potentially going to the Chicago Bulls. Ultimately, it looked like I nailed one of my predictions, as this morning when we all woke up, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, after finalizing a contract buyout with the Utah Jazz, 9-time All-Star guard Russell Westbrook plans to sign with the Los Angeles Clippers, according to his agent Jeff Schwartz of XL Basketball. Which, by the way, this is the second time a potential future Hall of Famer decided to sign with a brand new contending team. The first one being Kevin Love. I apologize, my internet was terrible in the Bahamas. So if you guys don't think it's too late for me to bring you guys that video next, let me know in the comment section down below. I know I have a decent amount of Miami Heat fans and I haven't forgotten about you guys. What I thought was really interesting about this decision is this was the second time in Russell Westbrook's career and John Wall's career where they were kind of indirectly traded for one another. John Wall wasn't directly traded for Russell Westbrook in this instance, but if you remember a couple years ago, in order to appease James Harden following the Houston Rockets' unsuccessful venture in the NBA bubble, in this trade, the Washington Wizards would trade John Wall and a first-round pick to the Houston Rockets for Russell Westbrook, which at the time, both of these individuals were considered to be equals in the NBA. To be honest, I remember when I was making a video on this and even saying that they're essentially trading the same player for one another. Maybe a change of scenery is what Russell Westbrook would need or John Wall would need in order to succeed. Ultimately, both players would find completely new teams one season later when the Wizards would trade Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers for a package surrounding Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and a first-round pick. Obviously, you guys know we've made a short about this. Recently, the Los Angeles Clippers decided to trade John Wall back to the Houston Rockets, which was very awkward given this interview that John Wall had in regards to the Houston Rockets.
Trash.
I already know.
I know. Beyond trash. Like, he don't come to training camp, none of that. So, you know, that news is all toxic for me.
And now the Los Angeles Clippers are pretty much stuck in the same spot that they've been in for the past 3 years. If you guys remember, the one thing that has always held the Los Angeles Clippers back from true dominance has always been their lack of a point guard. And believe me, they've really tried their best to figure this out. They resurrected Reggie Jackson's career, and he really outperformed what we expected from him, and honestly revived his career as a member of the Los Angeles Clippers. They tried to sign John Wall in the offseason, and I honestly thought that would work out out wonderfully. I thought that'd be a home run, but John Wall was a consistent negative net rating and held every single lineup back with the Los Angeles Clippers, so that didn't work either. Terrence Mann was outplaying him, so it didn't really make sense to keep him. So it looks like the Los Angeles Clippers are once again going to try the exact same thing that the Washington Wizards did, which was let's move on from John Wall and let's try to bring in Russell Westbrook, because at the end of the day, there's very little risk in doing so. I think this works out wonderfully for both Russell Westbrook and the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, from Russell Westbrook's perspective, this is just a beautiful situation logistically. I mean, he's already in Los Angeles. He pretty much gets to go to the same exact arena when he wants to play his home games. He doesn't have to move his family around. His family is still there. And hey, I feel like Clipper Nation might embrace him a little bit better than Laker Nation did. No, not because Clipper Nation's fan base is less toxic. You're talking about a fan base that literally bullied one of their star players during the pandemic when he underperformed in the playoffs. I'm not saying you guys are worse than Laker fans, but you guys are prone to doing this stuff too. But even more so, Russell Westbrook isn't in a place in his career where you can make him into a different player. The Los Angeles Lakers were trying to have him shoot threes. They were trying to bring him off the bench, which I think could work out, but they were trying to have Westbrook shoot threes and play defense. A 34-year-old isn't going to be able to play defense at this stage of his career unless if that was the main part of his identity to begin with. So there's no way you could teach Russell Westbrook to play defense, but what you could do is bring him off the bench, surround him with a bunch of shooters, surround him with a bunch of scorers, and have him create some really good offense for you guys when you need it the most. I think in this case, it makes a lot of sense. And in addition to that, there already is a lot of history between Russell Westbrook and Paul George. The chemistry is still there, and at least from my understanding, Russell Westbrook seems like a well-liked human being in the locker room, despite what Laker media reportedly tried to do, which was leak out damaging information in regards to Russell Westbrook following the trade, which I don't really see the point of that at this point. If you're going to cut your losses, cut your losses. There's no reason to rub salt in the wound at this point. I think this is a home run for both sides. I mean, at the very worst, Russell Westbrook ends up being an end-of-the-bench type of player that still gets to play at home, and if he is an end-of-the-bench type of player, at least he doesn't have the weight and the expectations that were placed upon him as a supermax player with the Los Angeles Clippers. He's coming in to play a role, and that's about it. The Los Angeles Clippers may find a little help at a position that they've been struggling with over the past few years at the point guard position. This makes a lot of sense for them as well. Do I think this is the difference between a championship or not for the Clippers? Well, if you do get some good help from Russell Westbrook, it might definitely push you in that direction. I don't necessarily buy into the narrative of, oh, Russell Westbrook is about to go to his next team and ruin another team. I just think he needs to figure out a role for himself that'll contribute to a championship contending team. And in this case, I think that role would be coming off of the bench as a sixth man and pretty much being a point guard that gets all the role players involved when he's coming off the bench. You surround him with some good shooters, which will make the paint less congested for him, and I think you have a winning formula for success. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Do you think that the move that the Clippers made here made sense? Do you think the Clippers made the right decision signing Russell Westbrook? But even more so, I think Russell Westbrook made the right decision choosing the Los Angeles Clippers. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.